Hello and welcome everyone to Hitting the Field Network. I'm your host, Weluka Costa, for a very special Black History Month show. Now we have a whole bunch of special segments and shenanigans for you guys today, and I will be joined by my guests to shine a light on these historic moments from these historic people. Stick with us because HTF starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field Network for, again, our special Black History Month show. Today, I'm joined by my co-host. I know, it's weird to see me in the middle, but today I got co-hosts. I got Ezra, I got Phil. How's it feel to be here at this desk today, boys?
I'm honored, honestly. I'm happy that we have a Black History Month special today, and I'm honored to be on it.
Yeah, it definitely does feel amazing, for HTF to do this segment.
Yeah, and we appreciate everyone back there working the cameras and everyone who agreed to come on today. So we're going to jump right into it. Segment 1, we're going to have our Black athletes in sports history. So I'm going to go ahead and take a step back on this one first. Let Ezra take it away. Go ahead.
All right. So when you think of famous Black athletes, there's one person that you can think about that broke the color barrier, to just drop a hint, and that's Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson's one of the most famous and one of my favorite ever athletes of all time. And people don't give him enough recognition for how good he actually was at baseball. Like, they only talk about him breaking the color barrier and everything he's done outside of it. Look at what he's done inside of it.
Tell him, Ezra.
Like, he had a season that he dropped MVP numbers in. He had 200 something hits. 342 batting average,
Preach, bro.
124 RBIs, 37 stolen bases. Like, these are MVP numbers nowadays. And this man was doing this on the regular back in the day.
Exactly.
And I also dropped that he's never struck out more than 40 times in a season.
Which is crazy,
Most
by the
players
way.
strike out 100 times in a season.
Exactly.
And just to be like clear on this, he also won Rookie of the Year and stuff. He's played many different positions. I think when you think of Jackie Robinson, you got to think of his on-the-field game as much as his off-the-field stuff. And that's why I genuinely think he is one of the greatest athletes, if not Black athletes of all time.
And I want to stress that as well because, like I said, I'm not a baseball fan. My sport was primarily soccer and basketball.
Yep.
And even me watching that 42 movie.
Oh man, this screaming scene always gets me.
Don't get me started. That coach, he was on the sideline. I was like, you know what, bro? Maybe I can get in the dugout.
Yeah, he definitely got me frustrated just watching it.
Exactly. Jackie Robinson is simply he has done so many things for Black athletes and just athletes in general. And this next man coming up, the champ. Phil, go ahead and talk to us about him.
Man, the greatest of all time.
Facts.
And I'm going with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali transcended the sports world in boxing form. The adversity he had to go through when he got his title stripped, he was out the game for 5 years, but he never worried. He stuck to his guns. This guy, I can remember only seeing highlights and clips of him, of course, because none of us was born back in that time. But, when he did the rope-a-dope, fighting Roy Jones, Joe Louis. And then also, oh, my God, I'm sorry.
You good?
He fought, oh, man.
And then he beat Joe. Listen, everyone, listen, you do not even have to be a Mike Ali fan, Muhammad Ali fan to know about that picture. He absolutely annihilated that brother. Literally. And that is just a staple in sports moments, And like you said, not going to the draft, standing by his name, standing by his word, that shows a lot more than just how he is as an athlete. It shows how he is as a person. It shows his values,
Absolutely.
He's true to himself and above everything. And my athlete that I'm going to go ahead and get into is Jesse Owens. A man who needs no introduction. Jesse Owens is one of the most notorious, iconic athletes we've ever seen in our time. Four Olympic gold medals. The only athlete to ever do it in our time.
Yep.
And in 1936 in Berlin, in a World War II, in the hostile environment, he went out there and he made a statement. First track Olympian, like I said, won 4 gold medals, 100 meter, 200 meter, long jump, and the relay. Set 3 world records in 1935, being in Michigan for only an hour, being at Ohio State. Shout out Camden Murray, I know he.
Ohio State, you gotta love it.
You know, Camden Murray's loving that
my
one. And 100 meters in 10.3 seconds, 200 meters in 20.7 seconds, long jump with 8.6 meter jump. And then his 4th grade medal, right, 4 by 100 relay, which y'all might not know this. He got advice from one of his competitors on how to do it better. And he set the new team record for 39.8 seconds. And that alone is just, Jesse Owens is just someone who just really broke the barrier in many different ways. And if you guys have the time, you know, who's another athlete you guys can think of who just set the standard for black athletes, not even just black athletes, just athletes in general.
Ooh, oh man. There's a couple guys out there. There's a couple newer guys nowadays, you know, likes of LeBron. There's the likes of, you know, Jordan, of course.
Kobe beating Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
You go with Jim Brown going to football.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
man.
No, and
Walter Sweetness Payton.
Oh, Walter Payton's a
Walter
good
Payton,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. So these are just a couple of athletes to us who have just always been so important to us and affected us so many different ways. And all we can do is thank these athletes for continuing to do what they do each and every day. Next, we have black athletes in UCF history. So,
Yes.
believe it or not, we do go to University of Central Florida. Who would have guessed that?
Wow.
But,
Oh, my God.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Ezra first. Go ahead. Who's
All right.
your most influential UCF athlete?
I wanted to discuss a guy that just got recently inducted into the UCF Athletics Hall of Fame last year, and that is Latavius Murray. This man has been a consistently good running back in the NFL for a decent amount of time now. He's had his seasons where he's been really good. He's been a one-time Pro Bowler. He's had 1,000 rushing yards in a single season. Like, he's actually been a really decent NFL player. But his time at UCF also goes really, really deep. Like, he had 2,424 total rushing yards, 37 total rushing touchdowns, 6 total receiving touchdowns. Those are crazy stats to have in only 4 years of football.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to do such a thing at that high level, I think he's very deserving of being in the UCF Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And I think he deserves a lot of recognition for it.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people do underrate Latavius Murray, especially his impact on the school. You know,
Without a
he really
doubt.
was a foreman for the school. You know, and go ahead, Philip. Who was one of your black UCF athletes?
Well, it was Brandon the Beast Marshall.
Yes.
He went to UCF back in 2002 to 2005. You know, some of us was probably in elementary school, still in diapers around that time.
That was yeah.
But he played a total of 44 games. He had 112 receptions, 1,678 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns. He also spent 13 in an NFL season. You know, I mean, I
That's
remember
consistency.
Consistently,
That's
yes.
consistency.
Pro Bowl, you know, I remember he playing for my Dolphins. You know, I loved the man. You know, and he also he still hold the record to this day with 21 catches in a single game. Like 21 catches in a single game.
Right?
Yes.
Mind you, we got receivers like Cooper Kupp, Tyreek
Justin
Hill, Jake
Jefferson,
Jettas walking around,
Jake
Stephon
Jefferson.
Diggs.
I'm trying to take 21.
Nah, can you do something for me?
21.
I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy. Man. I'm not gonna lie, that is
21,
actually
can you
crazy.
do something for
No,
me?
exactly.
Hey,
Yeah. So
trying to tell you.
exactly. No. So exactly. So Brandon Marshall is definitely one of the most influential black athletes we have had to grace the school. 100%. We are forever grateful and forever blessed to have Brandon Marshall, and we are forever grateful and forever blessed to have the legend Jada Cody, the woman,
Yes.
the living legend Jada Cody. 2022 season, last season, broke the single season RBI record.
Yep.
Last season, she had 15 home runs with 75 RBIs. She completely revitalized the program and has been a main leader on the team for the last 2 years. She's someone that every woman can look up to, someone that every black athlete can look up to, and she is simply the standard. She even went and played for Team USA. She led her team to win the home run derby as well. And then let's not forget, last season was the best season in UCF softball history. You know, they took the team to the super regionals, won the regionals. You know, it was the first time we had ever made the tournament in school history. And being able to watch her at this time, it's so inspirational for me, because I used to play sports, you know, growing up, but it's so inspirational, you know, for other little girls who watch her each and every day. So how can that, you know, your kids of the future, you know, how does that impact you, her play?
Not even to mention, she's actually having a really good season this season.
Bro,
as well.
the season just started. Let's not get carried away. The season just started.
But no, it puts on for younger black women and to be able to prosper and become great, because when you have such a good role model as Jay Cody, when you actually pay attention to how good she is, especially, I have 2 cousins growing up right now who are both black, and they are also playing softball. So to have her as like someone to look up to, it's ideal. Because when you actually watch her play, how great she is, how much she does, it's amazing. It's genuinely amazing. It's an honor to watch her play, honestly.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
Exactly, yeah. And it's just, along with Sarah Willis, who's another great player on that softball team, she's simply just been so focal and with the role this year. And, we hope to see more and more growth in her going forward. And it's actually, it's really happening, for people like me, like I said, just to see the growth of these players, and especially when you watch them, it's more of just a sports impact, like we said, like we talked about. But yeah, that's all the time we have for segment 1. In segment 2, we're gonna bring on Terry and Ray. Thank you, Ezra. Thank you, Phil, for being on for this segment. And we'll come back with you some more stuff later.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hitting the Field Network. I'm your main show host, Dominic Moeller, and this is just a little PSA to come check out our network. We have shows for all your favorite interests, sporting needs, or really anything if you're interested in the world of sports. Of course, our first show is The Combine with Cameron Forcier and Isaiah Deonda Delgado. It's more of a laid-back podcast type beat. But next is the main show. The best show ever created, the best show ever engineered, pioneered, with me, this pretty face on your screen, this handsome fellow. Going to be talking about mainly the main things of the wide world of sports. And then on Thursdays, we have Nighttime with the lovely Emily Aaron and the handsome and dashing Camden Mallory. Then right after, for all you gambling addicts out there, I hope you viewers aren't gambling addicts as much as some of the other people in Hitting the Field. We have Hitting the Field bets with Riley Shepard, Jeffrey Laux, and Weluka Costa. And then we switch it up. We don't always do shows. We like to do a little bit of interviews too. We do interviews with a lot of sports athletes, such as Corey Marksman, that I did. Shout out Dominic Moeller right here, this guy. And then, of course, Kristen Scott with Camden Mallory. And we have more coming in the works. We're always innovating and thinking on our feet. But if you want to join us, be sure to DM Hitting the Field on all social media platforms and networks as well, because we're open to anybody to come through and just check out the program. But be sure to tune in, as Hitting the Field will be seeing you very shortly. Take care.
Welcome back to the HTF Black History Month special show. Today, I'm joined by my 2 other guests, Terry and Ray. How does it feel for you guys to be on this stage? You were here last year, Terry, returning member.
Yeah, it feels good. This is my 3rd show with you guys, so I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, exactly. And Ray, this is your first Black History Month show.
Yes, this is my first Black History Month show. It's an honor to be here, first of all. It's wonderful that you guys even do this, because not enough programs really focus or give Black history enough credit, so I'm glad we're able to do that.
Yes, exactly. And we thank Johnny Jackson, the production team back there again, like I said. So in this segment, we're going to go talk about some of our best Black sports moments of the year, Black athletes to look out for in the future, and Black athletes to look out for right now. So, Ray, go ahead. I want you to go first. Take it away.
Hey, so with the Black sports moment of the year, I'm going to go with an easy one, LeBron James breaking the scoring title. Everyone, a couple years now, we've already seen this coming, so we can't be too much of a surprise. But LeBron James has been so phenomenal throughout his career. An argument could be made that he'll be remembered more for his accolades off the court, than on the court. LeBron James, first of all, no other athlete has ever founded a school, the I Promise School, so I feel like it deserves to be a shout out for that. And also his international presence. Luckily, I'm out of country, I'm from the Dominican Republic, and being able to see that, you can see his presence outside the country. Anytime I even talk about basketball, not NBA, but just basketball in general, the first thing that comes out of my uncle's mouth is LeBron James. That's the first thing that comes out of mine. That's all they know down there. So and for his example that he set off the court, not a blemish on this man's record.
Literally, bro, no scandals, no cheating with nothing, bro. No,
He's
like no money, none of that.
And he stayed loyal. The worst thing you could say this man's done is the decision, and even that's not that bad. Yet, a lot of people say that's the start of the super teams, but if that's the worst thing you could say this man's done in his life, I feel like he's been pretty good then, if that's the worst thing he's done.
No, and I can 100% agree with that. Yeah, no, like you said, nothing off the court. He's had no scandals, no problems with anything going on, and that's just a real role model that we have, in his team.
He's never been scared to speak his mind too.
No, exactly. He's one with the people. He's one with the people. He's not afraid to show it. So Terry, I'm with you. Go ahead. Who are your Black athletes?
I couldn't wait to get to this point. This past Super Bowl, Super Bowl 57 with Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. I couldn't wait And I don't remember being this excited over a Super Bowl in years, because to see people that look like me play the position that I used to play a couple years ago when I was at BCU, I'm sure you remember.
Oh, we know.
It was great, you know, but I got to shine a light on Jalen Hurts. He came into the league. Nobody wanted him in Philadelphia. I didn't even think he'd make it. I knew he'd have a chance, but the way that team was set up, I didn't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl that fast. So I was extremely excited. And a quick story for you guys. I remember the spring 2016. I'm watching Alabama spring game like I always do every year. And I see a kid with blonde dreads sticking out of his helmet wearing the number 2. My dad's outside cutting grass or doing whatever. I run outside. I go, Dad, Alabama has a guy with dreadlocks running around in that stadium. He looked at me like I was insane. Yeah. Because when I grew up, I'm used to seeing guys like Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, you know, Jake Corker, those guys, which were all good, but they played on good teams. They weren't as mobile as Jalen. They weren't as athletic as Jalen. Thank you. And to see somebody like Jalen come in, I was shocked, because the first game they played USC, he wasn't the starter. Yeah. He was the third string. Yeah. They had a guy from Santiago, California, Blake Barnett. He came in. I guess he didn't pan out. They put Jalen in the last minute. They ended up blowing USC out. Jalen had 4 total touchdowns. Guess what? He had 4 total touchdowns in the NFL Super Bowl. Yeah. So Jalen Hurts, hats off to him, and Patrick Mahomes. He's been in the spotlight for a while. So we're not shocked by Patrick Mahomes. So I was extremely excited for that.
No, exactly. And like you said, it's so welcoming seeing people who look like you, people that you can look up to. You know, it's hard whenever all you see in all your face with is people who no one who looks like you. And you know, and so that puts a blemish on your mind. You know, and my one of my moments of the year is going to be the John Morant dunk of the year. Cameron is in the studio crying, pissing up, throwing a fit right now. So is Isaiah, but I do not care. John Morant has been one of the best young athletes we have seen in the last decade, and it's not even close. Went from Rookie of the Year to All-Star, won Most Improved. Cameron hates that, but we're not even going to talk about that. But yeah, no, his dunk of the year, I have never seen an athletic showcase as exciting as this one. For him, he brought it all the way back to the moon. And as Andrew Montana would say, that's some crazy bite force. He has some insane bite force. And like I said, just the accolades just keep stacking up. He was in the All-Star game last year. He has 2 All-Star appearances. And if I'm not mistaken, he's 23 years old, which is insane. So, you know, how does it make you feel, you know, to see these young athletes putting on for us? You know, like, these guys are our age. You know, so how does that make you feel?
It's hard to believe that he's only 23. And like he said, I've seen this famous clip on YouTube where he goes, LA asks, doesn't really recognize him too much. Like, oh, who are you? He's like, Black Jesus. Like, from the way he's flying in the air like that, I'm like, okay, sir, you got that.
No, seriously, like, what? No, it's actually crazy. And Jalen Hurts is actually one of those, you know, crazy young athletes, you know, and
yeah. And when I say look like me, I mean look like me. Gets the fade.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's very Southern. You know, he's from the South. I'm from the South. He wears the gold hoop. I don't have my gold hoop in, but I have one. So it looks like me. Legitimately looks like me, and I appreciate him, and I appreciate his family for bringing him up that way.
No, of course, and that's actually Ray's athlete to look out for. So let's go ahead, Ray, get into it.
Disclaimer: I'm a Giants fan, so it hurts to talk about an Eagles player like this.
That's funny. It hurts to talk
about Hurts,
don't it?
I know all of my friends are gonna be making fun of me for this, but no, Jalen Hurts. Like, you got to respect thy enemy. That Sun Tzu said, art of war, respect thy enemy. And Jalen Hurts has been that guy. He's a MVP caliber player this year. And an argument could be made that he could be the Super Bowl MVP on the losing team.
Yeah. But he outplayed Patrick Mahomes, and that is not a hot take. But we will not get into it on this Black History Month show. We're here to be civil.
No, you're right. He did all up to the fourth quarter. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes throughout the entire game. So it just came down to, it's a whole team game. He did everything he could to win that game.
But I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're right. He's not a system. That on the biggest stage where everybody's watching, the only NFL football game on that day, we saw that he could play the position quarterback. He wasn't just a guy in there that had talent around him. Every quarterback needs talent around him. But he went out there and he put those points up on the board. He fumbled that one play. He came back. He put the Eagles out to a 10-point lead.
You know, speaking about fumbling, it's about time he gets paid. You know, I'm kind of hoping the Eagles fumble the bag on that one, because, you know, I don't want to see that man in my division anymore. So yeah, please fumble the bag with him. Don't.
Well, he's about to be a very rich man.
He'll find it elsewhere, just like Lamar Jackson.
Right.
You know who else might be a very rich man? Listen, this guy's about into the draft in 2 years.
Oh, man.
He's not here yet, but, you know, go ahead, tell him about your player, Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. This is another story. Me and my dad, we watch a lot of football, and I know we always talk about this, but it was the COVID season.
Yeah.
Mac Jones was the starting quarterback for the University of Alabama. They were playing Missouri. I told my dad, I said, hey, stay up and watch this mop-up duty. It was a blowout game. I go, hey, stay up and watch. They got this kid from California. And to my ignorance, I didn't know he was black. I knew he was light-skinned. Listen, I thought he was like, Hawaiian, Samoan, because they just had Tua.
Yeah,
so I said, Dad, they got this kid. He's a little short guy, but he's just like Tua. Turns out, I think he's better than Tua.
It's not crazy to say
I never
that.
forget. He came out there. He had 2 throws to Jalen Waddle. I said, this dude is about to be the future. Yeah. I talk about Jalen Hurts. I talk about Tua Tagovailoa, but Bryce Young is a generational talent. I mean, watching him, his Heisman season, but this past season where they didn't even make the playoff.
He was still amazing.
I think he put up Heisman numbers.
He did.
And Bama normally has a more stacked team than that, and Bryce Young was that Alabama team. He was putting guys in position. Offense coordinator Bill O'Brien said that he came in and he had cut-ups of his own. He was putting guys in position and telling what plays they should run. When have you seen that?
He was a sophomore last year, by
Under
the way.
Nick Saban.
He was a sophomore last year, by the way.
So I'm really excited. I hope the Colts go and take him. I think Bryce Young needs to play in a dome and a controlled environment with a good running game and build something around him where he's not going to get hit 24/7. You got to make sure he gets that ball out within 3 seconds. So I'm really excited for Bryce Young.
No, exactly. And another player that we're also really excited for, who sadly was out to ACL injury this year, we got Breece Hall. Isaiah, I'm doing this for you, my boy. I know you love Breece Hall. I'm just going to read you the numbers. Breece Hall only played in 5 games. Sorry, not 4. 5 games this year, by the way. In 5 games, Breece Hall had 4 touchdowns, 463 yards, 80 attempts, an average of 5.8 yards per carry as a rookie. A second-year rookie, by the way.
The truth.
Exactly. So Breece Hall comes from Iowa State. He's one of the best young talents we have in the NFL. He ran all over the Dolphins. We know that. Phil over there crying right now, but it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. Ran all over the Dolphins. Ran all over the Packers. 97 yards, 18 carries, 5.4 yards per carry, a touchdown. Longest carry of 17 yards against the Dolphins. Against the Green Bay Packers, 20 attempts, 116 yards. Average 5.8 yards a carry, 1 touchdown, 34 yards his longest rush. And then next week against the Broncos, his longest rush was 62 yards, and he averaged 18 yards a carry. Are you serious? Come on. Now, these are insane numbers.
To piggyback off of you, Breece Hall is a guy that he can be a game changer and he can be serviceable in different situations. But the thing is, with the New York Jets, they're not going to see his true talent until they get a guy in front of him, a quarterback, to really show what he can do. We already seen snippets of it. We need to see the whole album. See what I'm saying?
We got the leaks.
Yeah, we got the leaks. We need to see the whole thing.
Yeah, we need the album.
So Jets go and get you a quarterback. I don't care who. I wouldn't say Derek Carr, but
I think
Lamar Jackson is looking around for people.
We'll see.
It's probably gonna be A-Rod. Nathaniel Hackett just went there.
Most likely. I think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is gonna happen more than the Vegas Raiders.
I think so too. Yeah. So with that being said, that is all the time we have for our second segment. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Ray, for being on. Next, we have our Black Athletes That Inspired Us rant by me. So we'll see you then. Hello, it's me, your host of this year's HTF Black History Month show. I just want to first start off by saying this has been an honor to host my first show. I thank Johnny and everyone in the production who has put faith in me and trusted me to do this. And I just cannot thank you guys enough for just constantly staying by my side and trusting me with such a big responsibility. So moving on, this segment is about to be Black Athletes That Inspired Us. There's more and more, there's so many that I could name, but to name one actually, I'm going to start with Michael Jordan. As a Chicago Bulls fan, you wanted to be like Mike. there's nothing else you could say. You know, Michael Jordan was the staple. He was the level of basketball. He was what everyone wanted to be, what everyone looked up to and hoped that their children would be. From 6 NBA championships, 9-time NBA defensive team, and multiple MVPs. The list goes on and on and on. There's nothing that Michael Jordan could not do. And we are so thankful for his presence. We are so thankful for him as a player and what he did for the sport of basketball and what he did for the Chicago Bulls organization. Then we have Serena Williams. Serena Williams recently retired in this last year, and it's very heartbreaking to see and to hear. She played in the Australian Open while she was pregnant. So I think facing adversity is the bare minimum of what Serena Williams has done. When you think of Serena Williams, you know, she's always been someone who's been outcasted by the media. Time and time again, no matter what, there's always been problems with her. There's always been some sort of issue that Serena Williams is causing. But I think the issue was the fact that she was so good. The issue was the fact that people could not accept her greatness. 73 single career titles, 23 double titles, 2 mixed double titles, 39 Grand Slam titles, 23 single titles, and 14 double titles. Like 4-time Olympic gold medalist. 94.8 million won in prize money, and Serena Williams is just, and she's a role model not for just black athletes, or sorry, not for women athletes, for black athletes, for athletes period. She's a role model. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is one of the most underrated, underappreciated athletes of our generation and of our time. Bo Jackson was a dual sport athlete. He was great on football, did his thing for the Raiders, and then also did his thing for the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals are a poverty franchise before Bo Jackson came there. Are you kidding me? The best thing, nothing had ever happened in Kansas City because, you know, the Chiefs weren't there yet. So, you know, Bo Jackson, he had the wall. He came up the wall to catch the ball, save his team. Time and time again, put the Raiders on his back. Trials and tribulation, he never stopped, never failed, and he never settled. And then we're going to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as one of my last athletes. LeBron did just pass him, but this man is someone who does not need any introduction. The name speaks volumes. You know, time and time again. The only thing he couldn't do was beat out Bill Russell, but you know it's okay. Second all-time NBA scoring leader, one of the greatest Laker players to ever play the game, an icon in sports, an icon for African Americans all over the world, and his impact goes beyond the game of basketball, like I said, and that's really the aspect with a lot of these athletes. And I want to touch on a personal one, Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho is not an American-born athlete. He's from Brazil. But Ronaldinho is black nonetheless, and he was the #1 athlete. He was one of the very first athletes to implement the Zwinga style of football that is most commonly played in Brazil, the style you see from players like Neymar, players like Pelé, the dribbling style. He was someone to me. He was the first athlete I ever looked at and could say, that's my favorite athlete. He was the first athlete I looked up to, and I was like, I want to play like him. There was no one who has ever had an impact on me personally as much as Ronaldinho. Seeing him play, him captivating, his Ballon d'Or appearances, his time at Barcelona, his time at AC Milan, through all the trouble, through all the struggles, through all the tribulation, through all the criticism, he never settled. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. And I hope that more athletes like him and more athletes like the rest of these athletes can continue to set examples for people like us in this program who aren't athletes and people who are athletes. With that being said, this has been HTF Black History Month Show. Thank you again for everyone in production for having me on, and it has been my honor to host this show. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back.